energies that are going to continue. Now, the good news is because we know about it, we can prepare for it. Even better than preparing for the eclipse season and the eclipse cycle and all the other energies that are happening is to unplug from everyone's opinions about what's happening, because you're trying to find the truth, and the truth is inside of you. It's not outside of you. It's not going to come from one of these places. Now, Spirit does speak through all kinds of places. It can speak through an infomercial. It did to me once, quite a shock, and it required me to let go of some preconceptions that I have. However, what I really want you to understand is that you have availability to so much information right now, and it's been a very long time since people had this kind of access to everything. And you don't need to know it all. You don't need to know everybody's opinion, every law that's happening, everything that's happening. There's so much good news. There's so much beauty. There's so much love. There's so many cute animals. There's so many beautiful things happening in nature every single day. Do you get your fill of those things? There's a ton of YouTube channels that have beautiful things on them. There's happy news. There's funny stuff. There's pets all over the world. There's beautiful scenery. And the key is that we are in a moment when we're realizing that we have to be independent spiritual beings who know how to protect, cleanse, clear ourselves. And the protection that you need right now is bigger than ever before. Now, I don't want to instill fear, because protection isn't to put another wall around your heart and never trust anyone again. That's what's breaking down. That's why it's so scary right now. So let's dive into what's happening, what's coming forward with the eclipse, and make sure that you know how to use this energy up. Now, remember, for astrology, this is an intuitive astrology. I am an intuitive. I'm a light body healer. I am a master healer. I'm a homeopathic doctor. I've been doing this for 36 years, seeking, searching, working with shamans and mystery schools all around the world, going to vortexes, going to temples, doing amazing, empowering, out of this world experiences, activations, because my inner soul, my inner spirit, my soul's purpose, the plan, the potential that I encoded within me, that you encoded within you, was constantly calling me. Now, we may not know it, life may break down, and we're going to see a lot of that, a lot of change, a lot of direction change, a lot of new opportunities, a lot of really big opportunities, a lot of doors flying open, a lot of doors shutting. That's because we're entering eclipse season. We're entering as Mercury goes retrograde. So that's your communication. And that isn't actually going backwards, but the perception, the relationship that we have to that is, I feel, coming a little bit more internal, but it is going to review. So you're going to have things falling apart. You're going to have the desire to go back, redo it, go back to a different time, maybe stay attached to a different time, and wish nostalgically for the past. It's not coming back. It's never coming back. Who you were, what you did, it's not the same. It just isn't. And that's the way life is. It's going to continue this way. It's going to go faster and faster. And next year is huge, and the year after that is another massive redirection. We don't know how it's going to unfold. We know that it's coming, so we can use the energy up. So let's dive into the spiritual weather report today. And hi, Sandra. And what we're going to talk about is, what are the eclipse energies? What are the other energies around it? And how you can use it in your benefit. Now, I would recommend that you have your chart, your natal chart. So I'll be honest with you, I've learned pretty much everything there is out there. Sacred geometry, ancient texts. I've studied the Emerald Tablets. I don't know how many times. I've worked with Thoth for so long. let's see, my kids, after 23 years as my primary guide. And I've been through experiences of great intensity, both from daughters dying and businesses closing and divorces and losing everything, to making millions, to finding the love of my life, to meditating with hundreds of people together, activating levels of spirit very rarely experienced inside the King's Chamber in Egypt, on the in the Giza Plateau. We blew the power out for the whole plateau. Okay. And so these experiences have called my soul, and now they're my life. So the retreats that I do are transformational. They're fun, they're beautiful, they're loving, they're filled with loving healing. I'm the kind of shaman, I'm the kind of mentor, I'm the kind of spiritual opener for you. Fairy godmother is what a lot of my clients call me, independently too. It's quite interesting. And oh, I didn't give you the slides. Sorry about that. And so what happens is that we have a tendency to feel that we are within a path that we can't control, that other people have told us what to do, who to be. It doesn't feel authentic. We're searching for authentic self. We have parts of our life that are unfolding, parts that we're frustrated with. And I can promise you, if there's anything you've wanted changing, it's going to happen. So eclipses are always about change, but the big thing is we are in a portal. This decade, hopefully, we're in a portal. What does that mean? It means that we're moving with great intention through this decade. Time is a structure. And so just like moving down the road and over the Rocky Mountains, excuse me for a second, my smudge bundle fell in my candle, so I light my candle, it lights this big hunk of cinnamon and copal and thyme and rosemary and all these things. Woo! I gotta let you see this. And and I don't have to get the incense out. You probably see, woo! So it's going that way for some reason, but welcome. The sacred smoke is here. I always activate the sacred space beforehand, and I always create the altar. I call in the animals, the guides, the realms. There's realms everywhere. We're supported all the time. And okay, let's go back here. Kind of lost my spot there. So what's wonderful is all the years of my adventures were really long, hard journeys, because literally, just like you, the layer of consciousness that we have been living in has been so dense that even in my lifetime, I'll have to double check, we've risen 3, maybe more waves of consciousness. It's a big deal. Okay. So we're going to talk about preparing for the eclipse season, and that's what you can do right now. Don't wait. The eclipse is on the 19th and the 20th, and then we have another one in May. Now, right after this, I'm going to do the multidimensional meditation for today, and I got an inspiration during preparing this from a dear friend of mine, and so we'll see. I think we're going to realize and walk through in the meditation. I don't plan these. I don't script them. I don't write them. I'm a clear and open channel. I've been doing all my breakdowns in life and all my recoveries, going deeper into the spiritual side. What's underneath that? What's behind that? What's the easier way? What's a faster way? Okay, what's the optimal way? And being able to relax into what is optimal for me at this time, instead of pushing my agenda, while tapping into the passion. So that's part of what's going on right now. Part of you is going to feel like, oh, well, maybe I need to think it again, over again. And you might start to get conservative. We've had some energies that are creating some people pulling back, feeling afraid, maybe, oh, the economy is crashing, the economy is crashing. You know how many times the economy has crashed? And every time the economy crashes, it's a blooming opportunity for new things to rise up. We need new companies. We need new thinkers. We need new ways of doing things. Be a part of the new. Don't hold on to the old. There's so much volatility right now. People's emotions are going crazy. It is more important than ever for you to protect yourself energetically, psychically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, financially. Everything is rooted in your soul. Your soul wants to be revealed. Your soul wants to be recognized, wants to work with you, wants you to guide on the path. That means that you have to start to listen to your intuition, not sometimes, not wishing you did later when you realize that you've got to do it now. That's why I do all of my classes. Intuition Awakening is coming this summer in July. It's going to be phenomenal. You've got Money Intuition you could do right now because we're going to do Advanced Money Intuition in June. We've got the Dolphin Healing Retreats where we go into a sacred cocoon and you receive healings from the dolphins, from me, from the jaguar, from the land, from the vortexes, from the waters, okay? And who is going to need those beautiful sacred waters in the womb of Mother Earth to purify you, the cacao spa and ceremony to heal and open your heart, to release your inner child, to find the part of you that is ready for what's coming new. Because here's the other thing we have going on. We have critical degrees of 29 and 0. There are two ends. 0 is the start of something. 29 is the end of something. So things are ending. The eclipse is at the 29 degree. That's a big friggin' deal, okay? It's not just, oh, it's an eclipse. It's going to hit your chart. Oh, I was saying, get your natal chart so at the very least you can look at it, all right? So what you would do is you'd look at your natal chart. They're free all over the internet. Just look up free natal chart and you put in your birthday information and it spits out a chart. Then take a picture of it and carry it with you. Then you can look at it. Do you have anything in your chart that's at 29 degrees or 0 degrees? That means this is going to be more intense for you. This is going to be in a particular house, particular energies. If you have those very active in your chart, look for those. That's the simplest way to do this. Oh, I know what I was confessing, that I did everything I could think of on my path after my first breakdown, after all of my hard work, building a business and all the big success, and then everything leaving and going out of business because nobody paid me. It was a complete crisis of identity. It wasn't just a sadness or a failure. It was the economy crashed and nobody paid. Even department stores didn't pay me. And so I had this huge amount of money I'd worked for, I'd leveraged everything, and I'd worked really hard because that's what I was told you do. You work really, really hard and you suffer a lot, and I did, and I loved what I did. I had a fashion design company. However, the problem is that the energies in my life, in my chart, in the world said, great, that's wonderful. You've learned so much doing what you just did, but we want you to go in a new direction now. But I had no spiritual realization. There was no internet. There was nobody like me teaching this or sharing. Here's what to look at right now. Here's why you might feel this way right now. So energy is expressed through everything in different ways. That means you are going to have it affect you differently, but you're going to see it around you. Might happen instantly, might take 2 weeks, 2 months, okay? Might happen between the two eclipses, might happen over the next several years because the eclipses go in these bigger cycles. So there's a few fun things that are happening I wanted to share with you. There's super blooming happening. Super blooming. I want you to learn to read energy, read words, read the meaning behind the words, read how the word makes you feel. Last night I had the honor, excuse me for a minute, I am going to I don't have a mute button on my screen, so I'm so apologetic about that. Thank you for forgiving me. You know what's fun? Is changing your perception of forgiveness. There's no such thing as anything that needs to actually be forgiven. And yes, people do horrible things, and that's a whole other conversation that we'll have another time. The whole point is don't give your power away to anything outside of you. You have everything you need within you. The more you become, the better. So as something dies, so we're in Pluto, and we're in Pluto in Aquarius, and Pluto doesn't change signs for a long time, and it's going to go in and out of Aquarius and Capricorn for a year and a half or something. So it's a really volatile time, and that's part of the volatility you're seeing. So you are going to see around you almost immediately, or within a few days, you may get a letter saying, you know, we're closing your account, or this school is closing, or we're no longer offering this service, or, you know, whatever. Okay, what you want to do is be prepared by saying, what am I ready for? Because when something ends, when something blocks, when something redirects, it's direction, it's guidance. We've got our blinders on and we're like the Aries ram just hitting our head. Oh, I'm going to go forward. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to do it on my agenda. I'm going to do it on everyone else's agenda. It doesn't work that way, and you've got to surrender into the energy. So last night I had the honor of teaching on another beautiful lady's healing certification students about sensing energy, about being able to increase your ability to sense energy. And what it's about is understanding language, symbols, senses, feelings. You have 360 senses, and I have a little mini course. It's very affordable, and it's in my shop.nanakasha.com. I highly recommend you get it. It has sensory activation exercises and a whole bunch of other things to help you begin to awaken your 360 senses. Everybody receives information differently. You're intuitive, you're psychic, everybody is. It's part of your nature. You don't have to have an affinity for it. You don't have to have seen dead people when you were little. You don't have to remember talking to fairies, or you might, okay? It doesn't matter. It's within you. How you do it is different from everyone else, yet has similarities. So we've not been taught to listen to our own unique voice. We've been taught to try to figure it out, to try to make it happen, to try to analyze it. So please do me a favor and go into this eclipse saying, I know it's just like a road. It's just like looking at the map of a road, and you know you're going to go through this big mountain, and there's going to be blizzards, and there's going to be challenges, and you're not going to be able to see. That's what eclipses are, right? And blackouts. And you're going to be cut off and maybe overwhelmed with your emotions. You know, like this blizzard just consuming you and filling you with a fear. But guess what it does? It brings you into the moment and makes you have to focus just in this moment. That's the power. And teaching people to do this is such a friggin' amazing thing. I get beyond excited. I could barely sleep for days now. I think it's the eclipse coming and everything else too, but not from worry or bad things at all. There's a lot of energy going on at night. You're being taught things at night. And so what happens when you see something like a super bloom in the middle of this volatile energy as we're approaching something that's a portal that is going to open up a new reality and close you off from your old one in some area of your life. So you'll see different things around in the world. You're going to see a lot of fear because this triggers fear in people. Please don't be a fear. Don't add to the fear. Don't be a molecule of fear. Be a molecule of love, or just neutrality, or acceptance, or harmony, or trust. If you could carry trust with you more than you carry fear with you, you're going to help tip the scales. Let's tip the scales, okay? And so I get this wonderful newsletter called Earth Sky News. I highly recommend it. It's kind of sciencey, but it's got cool pictures of stars and from probes in space, and interesting things about weathers and eclipses and everything. So it says that California is experiencing a super bloom of wildflowers after years of a drought. Now, I lived in California twice, so I was there 9 years maybe or something out of my life, and it was almost always a drought. I saw areas that were always brown, and they were still beautiful. And once I went after I'd left, and it had rained a lot, and everything was green, and it looked so weird. So how does this energy affect us? I don't live in California. Who cares? Because it's a sign. It's a communication. You want to look at change. You want to see what's blooming. You want to see what's dying. You want to see what part of the cycle you're in. Every part of your life is in a different part of your hero's cycle. The heroine's journey has being called from your ordinary world. Well, you're going to be kicked from your ordinary world. They're going to be open a door and say, "Ooh, woo, have fun, wee, and you're gonna like start going. But guess what? For so many of you, we're going to be stepping into an enormous opportunity, something we couldn't have imagined or we've been working for forever. We felt like maybe will never happen. We've hoped with our deepest, darkest parts of our heart, and we have never believed that it could happen. That's how powerful this energy is. So super blooming is already a reflection of that energy. So where can you say, maybe I've had years of drought in my love life, and the earth is now showing it's okay. You can have a drought. You can have wildfires. You can have all of this shit happen to you too. And then you can have a super bloom. So what do you want to super bloom in your life? I love this energy. I got so excited. Now, there's another super bloom that's not as pleasant. However, it's the same energy. The Caribbean, not where I live, thankfully, but over on the other side, it's been experiencing a boom of algae, of sargassum for years now. There's areas like Tulum where it's quite profound, and it's a belt, like a whole river of it out in the Caribbean, building for years. And it wasn't seen before that since the late 1400s. There's another cycle, the 1400s. What happened in the 1400s? Well, we're already seeing energies that go back to the start of things. Like, wasn't it 14 something that supposedly someone discovered the Americas? There are people living there already, but you know, the people who wrote the history books and said, we're the greatest people, we discovered this, yeah. So that means discovery. That means leaving home, going out and exploring, starting new worlds, new places. I think this is an excellent reflection of some of the energies that are talking. Also, we're having volcanoes and earthquakes. Why is it relevant? Because your body's part of Gaia's body, part of Mother Earth's body, and you're experiencing these things. She's experiencing these things. She's ascending, you are ascending. What does that mean for all of us? Whether you're a plant, an animal, or Gaia herself, you are expanding your consciousness to a new level, and that new level means you're more of a creator, you're more in flow, and you can't carry heavy toxins. So the fears that are rising to the surface, that some people are jumping in and playing with and talking about and spewing all over everyone else out in the world, and the people who are saying, oh no, I'm not playing that world, not in my reality, and we're going more towards the light, not to be unrealistic, not to ignore what's happening, but realize it does. Either direction is the same thing. We're just choosing a different degree to go through that experience. And when the earth has volcanoes and earthquakes, that means we're having them too. Maybe they're in your emotions. Maybe they're in your relationships. Maybe they're in your finances. Maybe they're in your job. Maybe they're in your health. Maybe they're what? How can you use the energy of a volcano? A volcano is amazing. It's a womb that melts every fucking thing into a big pile of pure potential. Well, guess what? That to me is saying, look, you're getting ready to go through this big doorway. You've been prepared by your soul for a long time for this. There's a lot of shit falling apart. A lot of things not going to make sense. We're having a huge ending. You're going to be, this is like what you've trained for your whole life, and for many other lives, you've trained for this event. Okay? And you want to show up your best. You're ready for this. Yet you don't know where you're going, because Pluto, the god of the underworld and death, rebirth, endings, and beginnings, is at 0, another critical degree. The beginning that you don't even know what it's going to form into. Let's just say you find a seed and you're like, I don't know what it is, but let's water it. Let's love it. Let's give it some perfect environment. See what it can turn into. See what its potential is. See what's encoded in it. All right? So the volcano could be your sacral, saying, I can't carry the shame and blame anymore. I can't live this fear anymore. We have to get rid of it because I'm ready to create something new. And that's what you're doing. You're getting ready to create something new. Some new world that now needs creating, needs to come through you. We can't make it without you. Earthquakes, well, we know what that is. That's everything shifting, vibrations shifting, plates shifting, tension that's built up deep within, no longer being able to be held in. Well, my friend Donna Stellhorn, I've interviewed her several times. I highly recommend her. She's a wonderful astrologer, and we've really got a lot in common. And she said that she feels like this eclipse is going to be like the Tower card in the Tarot. And that's huge change, okay? That's like a picture of a tower being hit by lightning and burning and people jumping out and everything falling down. It's like, we're ending this. This is what happened to me in the end of the 80s when my entire business had to close because no one paid me. Then I had no money and a whole bunch of debt because I'd put everything back into it. And all that I believed I was, from my reality, my identity, my people-pleasing personality, my willingness to take all of my energy and all my powers and put it towards trying to make everyone else happy, trying to make a lot of money, trying to prove myself to be good enough. Now, I loved what I did, so thankfully, it was all poured into something that was creative and fun, and I soared, and I was in magazines, and I was in catalogs, and I did really, really well with my fashion design business for 3.5 years. And then I had to give up because the money, everybody said, no, we're not paying you. And so earthquakes happen, and this is very much like that. So this is from Reuters, the news service. One of Russia's most active volcanoes erupted on the far eastern peninsula on Tuesday, shooting a vast cloud of ash far into the sky that smothered villages in drifts of gray volcanic dust and triggered an aviation warning, which means you can't fly. So let's read the energy, okay? I want to give you some more intuitive sensory opportunities. Okay, so eruptions, volcanoes. Think about volcanoes. They do erupt, but they spend a lot of time not erupting. And what's happening deep inside that you might not know about that's happening, it might be dormant, and then it might stirring, and it might be getting hotter, and it might, all these different phases of a volcano. Then after it erupts, it comes down and burns everything in the way, bringing everything to a new, but what is it doing? It's birthing new earth. Now, the earthquake is shaking things, right, up. But now think about this. Ash. A lot of the energy that we're looking at in this eclipse is about that burn it to the ground, things just completely done, because there's a square to Pluto. So we'll talk about squares in a minute, but that means you went to the house that you just bought and it burned down and they don't care, they're not giving you your money back. Okay, it's forcing you in a new direction. It is very strong guidance. Do not try to go back. Do not try to recreate. Turn around, accept where you are, and look for the new doors that are opening and the new opportunities. So the ash, you need to rise from those ashes. Whatever ends in your life, and it could be fabulous. You could be just super thrilled because it's the end of your IBS and you never have that again. So this is another way to use up the energy. If something has to end, how about I think about now, ooh, this would be great to end my fear of money. This would be great to end my relationships that make me feel burdened or restricted or unseen or unsupported. This could be the end of, right? Then you rise from the ashes instead of being smothered. So that's another energy. If somebody told me I feel smothered, I would write that word down. I've been trained for 5 years in hypnosis, psychology, and in another 5 years in homeopathic medicine, and the intake for both of those is quite detailed, and homeopathic intakes authentically, originally, were 2 hours or more long. The detail in how someone feels in one's circumstances at what time of night, this was one of my, I realize now, one of my intuitive trainings was in hypnosis. You have to listen to the exact words that they're saying and then say them back to them, because then it triggers their energy. If they want peace, you want to say peace. You don't want to say, and you feel good. Okay? So smothered in ashes of gray volcanic dust, and you can't fly. Think about what that means energetically. So there's the potential for this experience to explode and erupt in your life in a way where you feel smothered. You feel like, oh no, everything just blew up. It's a disaster. I can't go anywhere. I can't do anything. You can't fly. Okay? And everything is just covered in this. It's a mess. I can't see a way out. So read the energies of what's happening, but don't get sucked into them, because you are a divine being who can psychically protect yourself. You can learn to use energies to not cut yourself off for protection or not retreat into one of your old habits of not speaking up or something like that. However, you know when to go and be around certain energies, how to cleanse and clear those out, what you're feeding your mind, what you're feeding your emotions. So this is a powerful, rare new moon solar eclipse in Aries, okay? It's on the 19th and 20th. And this is, the big energies are destiny unfolding, karma ending, and doors and passions opening. That's my interpretation of the overall energy. So we've been talking about it already. Again, I want your focus to be on information in so that I understand how to use the energy up. All right? What would be a wonderful change in your life? And then you could say, ooh, these would all be acceptable. I love that. And you're using up energy that you could have used for fear and not knowing what to do and hesitancy to actually start taking action mentally, emotionally, meditating, writing, creating, drawing. Okay? So a critical degree is 29 and 0. And it's called an anaretic degree, if that matters to you. This is a karmic degree. To me, it's karmic because it's the ending degree. It's before something ends at 30 and we start over again at 0. It's also a point of very high consciousness, and because we're doing Pluto in Aquarius, that is, and we're overall doing Aquarius, right, the age of Aquarius, that's mind, and it's higher mind, and it's the two opposite ends of the same thing, which is complete freedom and independence and complete control and lockdown. And you're seeing both of those happen. So this is a high point of consciousness where your mind, which creates your reality, is getting cleansed. It's going to end a lot of the ways that you see yourself and you think. This is soul transformation. You want to be doing spiritual work. You want to be listening to your intuition. You want to be talking to your higher self. You want to be talking to nature spirits. You want to go to the things that lift you up. Don't think, oh, I have to do that. So I have a class going on right now for my Intuition Awakening students. I highly recommend that you stay tuned. We're going to be launching the curriculum for the mystery school for the next year. There's super exciting things that are coming through, especially since my Jaguar third eye dolphin opening at the equinox. Equinox is such a killer time to do stuff. And the Intuition Awakening Summer Camp online is going to happen starting in mid to late July. So it's usually 6 to 8 weeks. I don't remember exactly. And you want to be planning. So that could be one way you use the energy up. You're like, you know what? I'm committed to my spiritual path. I'm committed to awakening my intuition. I'm going to go sign up for the Dolphin Healing Retreat in July. And I'm going to contact Akasha, and I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to say, this is what I want. I have a client that came to the March retreat, and she wants to come back to the July retreat. And she kept saying, oh, I really want to come back. Her healing was profound. In fact, she used the one audio that I give you when you sign up. And over about a month before, and 2 weeks before the retreat, she said, I've already healed all the things I signed up for the retreat with. And guess what that means? New stuff to heal, new stuff to open to. So she came, had profound healings. We're still working together, and she's now goes, okay, no, I'm going to listen to my heart. I could see her here. I keep seeing her when I walk around this one condo in my mind, seeing where everybody is, where we would be seated, visualizing the healings and stuff. And I saw her so clearly that when she asked, could I come? I'm like, well, why are you asking me that? You already decided to come. But I was tuning in. I work with my clients on multiple dimensions. I often show up in your dreams or even in your house. You might look at me and see me as real or as some kind of a spirit energy. And so But what she's doing is saying, okay, I'm accepting I have the desire. And instead of going, I can't, or I don't know how, or I'm going to wait until it hits me in the face or falls on my head, or I'm going to just walk around feeling, depressed and focus on something else because I can't find a way, you have to step into it. And that's part of the eclipse energy right now, is you have to step forward. So the best way to step forward is to put something towards it, make some kind of commitment, put a deposit, buy a plane ticket or something. Even if you start with something that's you can change, it's showing yourself in the universe you're serious. Then you have to say, and you tell the dolphins, I think this is what I feel I'm meant to do. And you step forward and you say, okay. And you start asking the questions, you do the research, you're creating the momentum. This is exactly what I do. So it's so fun to watch her jump into action, check plane schedules, ask different people for schedules. What would happen if this, will it be this, will this work, look at all the aspects of what it would take to open the window in her daily life to step into something new. But her entire being is saying, I need to be there. I need to be in those waters. I need to be with the dolphins. I need to be in Mexico. I need to be. And she has layers and layers of this that are coming forward. There's so much profound healing. So instead of just cutting herself off, she's stepping into the potential flow and now being aware, doing the healing work, doing the activations. She got the energy cleanses. She's doing all this stuff. And that's taking action towards what your heart is calling you to. When you block your heart saying, oh my gosh, that would be the most wonderful thing I've ever done. Is it your heart or is it your ego? Once you get a little bit of clarity on that, move towards what your heart is calling you to, because there's always a way. So the other thing about this eclipse is it's rare. So that energy of being rare goes to every aspect of how it's going to affect you. It's going to be rare. Rare is what? Expensive, valued, doesn't come around very often, so you want to pay attention. So I call it a combination, but it's a hybrid, I guess, of two kinds of eclipses. The one that you can see, the black and then the ring of fire around it. Okay. And then because the moon is eclipsing the sun. Okay. And it's also going to be a total eclipse where the sun is completely blocked. So this is going to be happening in a square to Pluto in Aquarius. So again, death, rebirth, mind, Aquarius, conflict between independence and the need to control or to give in to others' rules. So we were doing in the Intuition Awakening, we're doing an accelerator, which is once you've taken an Intuition Awakening class, I occasionally do the accelerator, and all we do is practice. We come together and we practice. I do readings, you do readings, we interpret, we share. There's profound healing. It is such an incredible space. And so there was a reading, and wow, it just was amazing when the student did the reading, and the woman was in a lot of these pains, a lot of these things that we're talking about right now. And at the end, I said, remember, we're also in Pluto in Aquarius, and there's going to be half of you wants to die, wants to give up, wants to leave something behind. Half of you wants to move forward, be reborn, and there's a conflict between them. And she was just like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what's going on. And that's what the other students saw in her energy field. So when you learned intuitive reading, you learn for yourself to sense, increase your senses, increase your communication with all forms of light, all beings, all realms, all parts of Earth. Then you have access to all this support, all this wisdom, and all this expertise. You don't have to be anything but the clear channel. So could this be the death of your lack of clarity with your higher self, or with the fairies, or with animal spirits? So many people are realizing, I really connect to animal spirits. I really connect to elementals, crystal, water, air, earth, volcanoes, volcanic liquids. And all of these things have different energies. So when we have a square happen in something that has to do with death and rebirth and this conflict that and you may not be feeling it now. You maybe felt it last week. Maybe you're going to feel it more next week. Maybe you're going to feel it during the eclipse, maybe a few days after the eclipse, but you'll most likely walk through something. Now you want to notice it, but not give it your power. You trust yourself, and then you accept support. You know that you're not in any moment without support. So a square is a block. It's a relationship. Okay. So the square to Pluto in Aquarius that's happening, it's a block. All right. So it's a roadblock. It means what? Go some way else. Go a different way. Go think a different thing. Find a different person. Go a different path. Try a different direction. This is blocked right now. And an eclipse is blocking energy too. The moon, which is emotions or feminine, it's blocking the sun, which is yourself, your light, your growth, your codes, but it's also your ego. So you might feel more emotional, but if you go into it knowing this is going to happen, then you get a break from that block is giving you, oh, phew, my ego is just going to shut up, and I have enough time to look around and find the new doors that are opening, step into them, realize and accept the help that's here. Maybe there's birds, maybe there's purple energies. I'm thinking about the other things that came through recently in my students' intuitive readings. And the perception is that intuitive readings aren't healings. They're profound healings. People are being witnessed, they're being affirmed, they're getting more clarity, there's more tangibility in what's happening to them, and then we do receive guidance. We do allow energies to come in too. So you want to go to Intuition Awakening. You want to go to one of these things. You want to join it. And I'm also doing a new class. We're going to announce it probably on Monday for psychic protection. It's similar to the energy cleanses class, completely different, so they both go together, but in that sense that these are essential things that you must know. You can no longer walk around with all this happening, absorbing everybody else's stuff. You have to know how to clear and cleanse yourself, realign yourself, feel and sense your own energies, listen to your own self, and protect yourself energetically, spiritually, psychically, mentally, emotionally, financially, in all these ways without blocking yourself from inflow. It's a fine balance. So a square could mean the building burned down and you have to find a new direction. You have to find a new place to live. It can feel unfair, and it can feel frustrating, and it can feel like a lot of work. Those are potential energies right now because of that. And Pluto is big energy. Now the planet of death and rebirth is potent for endings and beginnings, and it's a big opportunity to go deeper, uncover more of your true soul powers, your psychic gifts, because what is in the underworld, what is in the subconscious, what is in those realms, those subtle realms of your body, your mind, your emotions. Your gifts are there. Your wisdom is there. Your blocks are there. You want to go find them and say, hey, come on, you don't have to stay there anymore. So realize that the energy can be used for either of these, and start being like, hey, I'm willing to let go of these, and I'm willing to receive these and this or something better. Another thing to notice, we are entering a portal between the eclipses. The next one will be Scorpio lunar eclipse. That's the other way around. The sun blocking the moon. So the sun being your bright, being your ego, being yourself, could be any aspect of that, blotting out your emotions. You'll get a break from those, and that's May 5th. Now, this is also the first eclipse in Aries since 2015. That's a long time, starting a new cycle of eclipses. They relate to each other over many years, redirecting your path. So Aries, remember, is a sign. It's the first sign of the zodiac, meaning that it is a starter. It's a cardinal sign. That means it starts things. And it's headstrong. We know it has those big, giant horns on its head coming out of its crown, which is quite significant. Okay? That creates a strong opportunity for the crown to be strong, to become headstrong, to become confident. It's a fire sign. But these things can flare up and want to hit things. It could be anger, could be wanting to bash the door down or bash the wall down. Now, sometimes that could be good. I can't take it anymore. I am sick of this. I am not going to be the victim anymore. I am going to bang my way out of here. But then when you get out, you don't want to carry that energy. That is not the way to approach your life. However, if you're in certain situations, sometimes it can be great to kick your own butt. Now, this is also the second new moon. The new moon last month was in Aries, and it's in Aries again, and that's kind of unusual. So it means a repeat or an emphasis of a month ago. The new moon is happening at the same time as the eclipse. So you're going to be looking for, again, an increase in those Aries fiery feelings, and new moons are also darkness, and eclipse is also darkness. So you want more protection, and you're going to definitely want this protection before, because every time there's a new moon, every time there's an eclipse, every time there's any kind of energy that is cutting you off and you are in the dark, you are unaware of things. You can't be aware of things. You have to be able to trust your inner self. You have to know how to create the space that you walk in. Now, you want to realize that you can choose. Aries energy can be anger and all these things, or it can be confidence and speaking up and using your passion and your focus and being determined and giving you that mental acuity and strength. And you might speak up and you might listen to your heart and you might find balance. You might take that step through that new door because you have confidence, and you might take a step out of your comfort zone because you have that confidence. You might trust yourself to choose the right doors and to just go forward and know that when you're in motion, you'll know what to do. So this energy can be used to give you confidence to leave the past and the comfort and go into the new world. However, because this energy can flare up very easily and tip to the other degree of Aries, avoid burning things, okay? It's a fire sign, things burn. There's volcanoes going on, that's things burning, okay? Things melting, things losing their shape completely. And that's another aspect of this whole eclipse period we're going into. Just use this advice for sure as you're going towards the eclipse, and for several weeks, if not several months after, this will all be happening and affecting you. So you could burn bridges. Remember, things are going to burn down. The Tower card, things are going to blow up, things are going to burn, things are going to become unfunctional, unrecognizable, they'll crumble, they're going to be outdated. So you might burn yourself, you might burn bridges, you might burn relationships, you might have a lot of anger burning within you. Where are you directing it? Who are you blaming? Blame is very toxic. You got to get out of blame. You cannot blame anyone. You got to get into a 5D consciousness, okay? You have to get into a 5D conscious perspective. So you might feel attacked, or you might feel the impulse to attack. You got to breathe, not breath, breathe and wait for 24 hours. Please use your intuition to discern if this is fire, this, energy coming up. Is this fire? Is this spirit? Or is this ego? Because, well, I'm just supposed to don't tell the truth right now, probably isn't the reality of the best way to handle it. So these are big change points, and this one is activating a gateway to your new reality, new opportunities, new relationships, new jobs, new sources of money, new answers to your heart's biggest questions. This change will open doors where you felt stuck, surprise you with things ending, releasing, and appearing. So be in the flow, trust, and use your inner guidance through the darkness. Any eclipse, we talked about this, cuts you off, so we already went down that. Don't let the toxic emotions overwhelm you and drag you down to low states. Get the scale in the shop. The scale of consciousness is going to show you where you are. You can test yourself before and after certain things, and then do an activation. Get the violet flame, do some kind of energy cleanse from my course to keep clearing yourself as other people are emoting and you're not perfect and know exactly how to not absorb it. In the meantime, you need those protections and those cleanses, okay? And you need them anyway all the time because you're traveling universes and dimensions now, all right? Roadblocks are going to occur. What happens when an avalanche happens? Everything falls down, but then there's a pile of rubble. And maybe you're buried under it. That's smothering energy. Don't get buried under the emotions. Now, the roadblocks are going to appear. Just be like, oh, okay, there's one. What's that? What's it telling me? What's ending? What's the best way around it, under it, behind it? Am I supposed to turn and go in a whole new direction? Do I go off path and find my own path? What is the guidance telling you? If you go into frustration, if you get upset, if you feel any of those emotions, you're completely cutting yourself off from true intuitive connection. Now, I mentioned that Mercury is going into retrograde. It's going in Taurus, which is, again, more that earthy sign that has to do with abundance, comfort, manifestation in the earth realm. So you're going to feel like reviewing some of that. It doesn't mean stop and shut down, but go back and take a look at those things. It's a great time to retrace, review your money, what you're spending money on, what you're avoiding spending money on, what you need to do that you won't let yourself spend money on. Go and review those kinds of things, because as you move through this portal, new opportunities are going to pop up. You may get through the portal and realize you are meant to be at my dolphin retreat. You need to make it happen, and you reach out to me, and we do. There's always a path. You may get the other side and realize I'm in the wrong track in school, or I don't need this in order to start my business, or I'm no longer willing to have this kind of relationship, and these 4 people in my life are like that. Oh, wow. Okay. This is an inside job. This is a soul job. This is a fresh slate for your inner soul. The universe is taking us to our inner soul magic. So to get to the magic, you have to leave behind the tower that you built, the walls that you built, the protection that you built that you thought protected you, like, I'll never speak up again, I'll never ask for money again, I'll never trust myself again, I'll just do what everybody else wants because otherwise people kill me or my family or burn me at the stake. All of these lives that are being released from the land and the waters and the earth and us is just horrible stuff that we've done to each other. Horrible stuff. And we're ready for our inner soul magic to come out. So screw that shit. You don't need it anymore. Let the tower burn down. You don't need walls. You don't need bricks. You need to get into nature. You need to touch the earth. You need to remember the magic of earth. You are an earth seed. There is an earth seed magic that happens when, even if this is your first life, which I'm sure it isn't, on the planet, you have lives in many, many planets and many dimensions and in many times within your soul. And the super blooming we talked about earlier, how is that happening? How is this elemental magic awakening within you? So pause and look back, let go, and look at how life was, thank it, and then turn to face this new unknown zero life. So the recap is you're able to use this energy up as you approach, face the fears and realities, and be prepared for the universe to erase something, and you're being given a clean slate. Those are positive things. If you can not be in fear and not be attached to what's shifting, trust that your soul is doing the very best to communicate to you. And if you start listening within, you're going to have more support than you could possibly imagine. So be open to receive. No, Pluto is at 0. And so the new birth is still unknown. 0 is pure potential. Okay, there hasn't been, it's like the egg holding the pure potential, but it hasn't been activated. You get to now move into being what activates the 0 potential for rebirth in your life. Where would you love that? Don't focus on the loss or the ending. Be prepared for the perfect and most amazing opportunities to appear. Don't be attached to those either. Don't get down in any way. So much better. Things that are way beyond what you could imagine are possible. Don't be stuck to your own ideas of I want this and I want it now and I want it this way and when's it going to appear and I'm not going to move forward. If you feel drawn to something, do something. Put a quarter down on something. Just put it down in a jar and say, that's a quarter going towards this XYZ thing that I want, and I've decided to put money between me and that thing. And I'm ready for that barrier to break. All right, something so much better is there. Trust your soul's path. Open your powers that are now available to you. Remember, on Tuesdays, I have a third weekly show. It's Tuesdays at 12 noon Central, whatever it happens to be at that time. And it's pure spirit guidance. So my Black Star Jaguar guide, my dolphin guides often come through, but it's about other realms. Could be fairies, could be animals. I don't know. Come get your third eye opening with me. I'm only doing them through April. Then they go away completely and they are on special. And remember to come to the retreat. It's amazing, it's loving, it's wonderful. And come now while they're intimate. I'm being shown growth. I'm being shown many more ways of doing this with more people. And part of the benefit of coming now is you get a lot of me, a lot of personal attention. Okay, so we're going to jump off and we're going to come back to our beautiful meditation. I will see you in a moment.